The air hung thick and heavy, pregnant with a silence that pressed against the eardrums. It was a silence unlike any other, devoid of the chirping of insects, the rustle of leaves, the distant hum of civilization. This was the silence of the grave, a palpable thing that clung to the skin like a shroud. The ancient catacomb, carved into the earth centuries ago, stood before us, a gaping maw promising untold horrors. Locals whispered tales of this place, tales that sent shivers down the spine and kept them locked in their homes after dusk. Tales of disembodied cries echoing through the night, candles inexplicably snuffed out, and phones ringing with no one on the other end. Tales that reeked of something ancient and malevolent. We, a team of paranormal researchers, had come to investigate, to sift through the folklore and find the truth, however disturbing it might be. Armed with sensitive equipment and a healthy dose of skepticism, we prepared to descend into the darkness. The entrance was a low, arched opening, choked with weeds and crumbling stone. A faint, earthy smell wafted from within, laced with something else. Something acrid and unsettling, like the scent of decay. We switched on our headlamps, their beams cutting through the oppressive gloom, revealing a narrow passageway leading into the heart of the catacomb. As we stepped inside, a wave of cold washed over us, a stark contrast to the humid night air outside. My heart pounded in my chest, a primal alarm bell ringing in my ears. I took a deep breath, trying to calm my nerves, reminding myself that we were scientists, not ghost hunters. We were here to observe, to record, to analyze. But even as I repeated these words in my head, a nagging doubt lingered, a feeling that we were trespassing on something sacred, something dangerous. The passageway sloped downwards, the air growing colder and heavier with each step. The walls were lined with niches, each one presumably holding the remains of someone long dead. I tried not to look too closely, but I couldn't help but notice the faint scratch marks on the stone, as if someone had been clawing their way out. A shiver ran down my spine. We reached a larger chamber, its ceiling lost in the darkness above. The beams of our headlamps danced across the walls, revealing a macabre tapestry of skeletal remains, crumbling coffins, and ancient carvings. The silence here was even more profound, broken only by the sound of our own breathing. It felt as if we were the only living things in a world of the dead. Our instruments crackled to life. The EMF meter spiked erratically, its needle jumping wildly. The temperature gauge plummeted, dropping several degrees in a matter of seconds. The static on our audio recorders intensified, a hissing white noise that seemed to claw at our ears. Something was definitely happening here. We began to set up our equipment, placing cameras and microphones in strategic locations. I felt a growing sense of unease, a prickling sensation on the back of my neck. I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched, that unseen eyes were following our every move. As the night deepened, the activity intensified. The temperature fluctuated wildly, plunging to near freezing and then spiking back up to normal. The EMF meter continued to go haywire. We started to hear strange noises, faint whispers, rustling sounds, and the distinct sound of something dragging across the stone floor. We tried to rationalize it, attributing it to drafts or natural settling, but the noises were too consistent, too deliberate. Then we heard it. A low, mournful wail that seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves. It was the sound of pure, unadulterated grief, a sound that tore at the soul. The crying, the sound reported by so many, was real. It was a sound that I will never forget. One of our team members, a seasoned paranormal investigator named Sarah, suddenly froze. Her eyes widened, and she pointed towards a dark corner of the chamber. "Did you see that?" she whispered,
her voice trembling. "Something moved over there." We all turned to look, but saw nothing. "I swear, I saw a shadow," she insisted. "It was tall and thin, and it just vanished." We dismissed it as a trick of the light, but I couldn't help but notice the fear in her eyes. Sarah wasn't easily spooked. Suddenly, all the candles we had placed around the chamber flickered and died, plunging us into near total darkness. Only the beams of our headlamps remained, cutting through the gloom like fragile swords. Then, the phones started ringing. Not our cell phones, but old rotary dial phones that we had brought as part of our experiment. They sat on a small table in the center of the chamber, their bells jangling in the silence, a discordant symphony of the macabre. We stared at them, frozen in fear. No one dared to answer. The ringing grew louder, more insistent, as if the phones were screaming to be answered. I finally found the courage to approach one of the phones. I reached out a trembling hand and picked up the receiver. The ringing stopped abruptly. I held the receiver to my ear, listening for any sign of life. All I heard was static, a swirling vortex of white noise. Then a voice, faint and raspy, whispered in my ear. "Get out," it hissed. "Get out now." I dropped the receiver as if it were burning my hand. I stumbled backwards, my heart pounding in my chest. "We have to leave," I stammered. "Now! This place is not safe." As we turned to flee, the temperature in the chamber plummeted again. The air grew thick and heavy, making it difficult to breathe. A dense fog began to swirl around us, obscuring our vision.
Then we saw it. A figure, tall and gaunt, emerged from the shadows. Its face was hidden in darkness, but its eyes glowed with an unholy light. It reached out a skeletal hand towards us, its fingers long and bony. We screamed and ran, stumbling blindly through the fog-choked passageway. We didn't stop running until we were outside the catacomb, gasping for breath in the cool night air. We looked back at the entrance, but the figure was gone. The fog had dissipated, and the catacombs stood silent and still, as if nothing had happened. But we knew better. We had witnessed something truly terrifying, something that defied explanation. We had come face to face with the paranormal, and it had left us shaken to our core. We packed up our equipment and left the catacomb, vowing never to return. The evidence we had gathered was undeniable. The temperature fluctuations, the EMF spikes, the strange noises, the disembodied voice. It all pointed to the presence of a powerful paranormal force. The crying, the extinguishing candles, the ringing phones. The local tales were true. This place was indeed a focal point of something dark and malevolent. But what was it? What was the source of this haunting? We didn't know, and frankly, we didn't want to find out. Some mysteries are best left unsolved. Back in the lab, we reviewed the footage and audio recordings. The evidence was even more compelling than we had realized. The shadow figure was clearly visible in one of the videos, a fleeting glimpse of something unnatural. The audio recordings were filled with whispers and moans, sounds that defied any logical explanation. We even managed to capture the voice on the phone, the chilling whisper that had sent us fleeing in terror. The experience at the catacomb changed us all. We had gone in as skeptics, seeking to debunk the myths and legends, but we had come out as believers, forever haunted by what we had witnessed. The world around us seemed different now, less certain, more mysterious. We had glimpsed something beyond the veil of reality, something that challenged our understanding of the universe.
I still have nightmares about the catacomb. I see the figure in the shadows, hear the mournful wail, feel the icy grip of fear. I know that I will never truly escape that place. It has become a part of me, a dark stain on my soul. And I know that somewhere, deep beneath the earth, the ancient catacomb still stands, waiting for its next victims. The crying continues, the candles are extinguished, and the phones are still ringing, unanswered. The darkness remains.